welcome to the Devils You Know bonus episode. We're gonna do a little fact trivia thing that I used to do back in the day before the season got started. We're gonna talk a little bit about what happened at the steakhouse at Chicago Cuts, or Chicago Cut, where Frank the Tank Fleming may have attacked someone. This is a game of Clue. I think it was Colonel Mustard in the kitchen with the knife. Anyway, first and foremost, I always say this, but I never really back it up. But I always say I'm not a fan of gambling. But I did get myself into a little pickle where I threw $20 into the FanDuel account so I could bet on Gritsuk, which was like it was basically a superstition thing where I felt like if I made the bet, he would score, and lo and behold, he did. And since then, from that $20 that I started with, I bet $10 on Gritsuk. Now my account is over $200-something in it. I just keep betting very rare, like hard to win bets, and just putting like $2 or $3 towards them, and I've been doing really well. The only one I've missed recently was a parlay where I tricked it. It was Dawson Mercer, because I picked last game. I picked Nemec to score in the third period. Got that one. I also picked Dawson Mercer to score in the game. He did, and Dawson Mercer to get a point, which his goal was a point, and the parlay was that goal and and then Dawson Mercer goal, Dawson Mercer point. I don't know how I got away with that, and then a Brad assist, but the Brad assist didn't happen. But anyway, so I'll show you if you're looking on screen. The first one is JJ Paterka. I got him for the first period, and he scored the first goal of the game. So bam, I bet $275 and I won $27.50. So you just move the decimal over 1. Not bad. So next one, even better. I bet in the same game. No, I bet JJ Paterka from Utah to score, but the Islanders did win. And look, they won 3-2 in overtime. Now my next bet, I put $4 on to win 60. I had to get the New York Islanders win 3-2. So it went to overtime 2-2, and I said, the Islanders better win this fucking game. And they did. So I won $60 on that, 64 if you count the $4 that I waged. Really not bad. So thank the man's head that's above there. That's Frank the Tank there. We all know he's guilty, and he did it to Jack Hughes. I don't know. Should I pull it up? Should I do it? You know what? Let's pull it up. Fuck it. Hold on. Let's Alright, so I'm gonna share my X account. Alright. There it is. Alright, so now let's go down here. Here we go. Jack Hughes injured at dinner. And Frank, what did you do to Jack Hughes? Did you guys play Knifey Spoony? Then I just put this up. If we're playing Jack Hughes' Clue, it was Colonel Mustard in the kitchen with the knife. Let's see what someone else said. But he was cut on a broken glass. It's unfortunate because glass is worse than a blade. True, Brian. True. But you know what? I still think it was him with the knife. Oh, there's my bets. Now here's the video. Okay.
Which finger? I'm sorry it took so long to answer the question. Which finger?
Anyone can tell me what this is from?
Careful! Only one!
I'm sorry it took so long to answer the question. Which finger?
Alright. And then, of course, we have the proof here that Knifey Spoony was being played, as you could see. The steak wasn't rare enough. It needs more blood in the plate. Let's see what that thing needs to be mooing. That is true. Alright, so enough of, let's go to my, yeah, okay. This is a bonus episode, don't forget. So I'm just doing random shit, but, alright. Did you know on October 12th, 1982, Don Lever scored the first shorthanded goal in the Devils' history? During a 2-2 tie against the Bruins at Brendan Byrne Arena. He scored against goaltender Mike Moffat. Anyone remember him? At 5:33 of the second period with an assist from Bobby McMillan. Now, here's the trivia question. Who did the Devils acquire from the Predators in exchange for right-wing Matt Halashuk and a second-round selection in the 2011 NHL entry draft on June 19th, 2010? The answer, we'll get back to it in 1 second after this Devil's fact. On December 21st, 2009, Martin Brodeur, you ever heard of him? Ever heard of the guy? Of the New Jersey Devils became the NHL's all-time leader in regular season shutouts by making 35 saves to record his 104th shutout, defeating the Penguins 4-0 at Mellon Arena. He broke a tie with Terry Sawchuk. The previous question, the Devils acquired Jason Arnott back, as Lou Lamoriello loved to do. Some of them were good, some of them were bad. Good ones, Mo Gilney, Holik, Rolston, Gomez. In which season did Brad Bombardier win his only Stanley Cup with the New Jersey Devils? That would be the 2000 Cup, obviously. On April 30th, 1988, which was around the time I went to my first game. It was late season, 1988. Whenever the Devils played the Islanders, like the last time the Devils played the Islanders that season. Probably in March or maybe February. Anyway, the April 30th, 1988, the Devils posted the first Game 7 playoff win in franchise history, defeating the Caps 3-2 in the Patrick Division Final at the Capitol Center. John McClain scored the winning goal. Oh, Johnny Mack scored another winning goal. And ironically enough, if you're listening to this on the day it's released, the Devils play the Capitals tonight. And we're in Washington, baby. Woo! Chicago was great for Simone Nemec. Wasn't that great for Jack Hughes, who flew back to Newark, not to Washington. Which two Devils tied for the team lead with 20 assists in the 94-95 season? One of them, it was an offensive defenseman for the Devils. The forward was Neil Broughton, and the defenseman was Scott Stevens. People forget Scott Stevens was a very, very offensive defenseman. He scored a lot of points, before he switched to being, letting Niedermeyer and like guys like Rafalski and stuff really take the reins on that kind of stuff, and him and Danica really just pushing the defense. And it worked. Won him championships. Scott Stevens, Hall of Famer, didn't need to score goals. Still did. And by November 6, 2009, he was retired. So was Danica, and actually Rafalski that year won a Stanley Cup. But in November 6, 2009, forward Brian Rolston came back to the Devils that year, scored his 100th regular season goal as a member of the Devils during his 100th goal as a Devil during a 2-1 victory against the Islanders at the Prudential Center, ironically enough. He scored a power play goal against Martin Biron at 13:40 of the second period with assists from Andy Green and David Clarkson, the boy wonder who left the Devils. And when you leave the Devils and you make a name for yourself with the Devils and then you leave, it's bad luck. Just look at the history of players who tried to walk out on the Devils when the Devils gave them what they had. It doesn't ever work out for them, and I love it. Which defenseman won the Stanley Cup with the Devils in 2003 and the Red Wings in 2007-08? Oh, Rafalski. Okay, so I was a year off. Okay, duh. October 23rd, 2010. Great night. I remember that. It was a beautiful night. It was raining, but I love the rain in late October. Forward Alexander Vasyunov of the Devils made his NHL debut in a 6-1 loss against the Buffalo Sabres at Prudential Center. You know what number he wore? 18. Who's the only player to score goals for the Devils in the Stanley Cup final against the Red Wings in 95, the Stars in 2000, and Colorado in 2001? There's only one guy who could have done all that. Sergei Brylin, Sarge himself. And thank God he's in the Ring of Honor. Who's your next Ring of Honor guess? I say it's Larry Robinson. I'm giving Larry. And to end this off, we'll go with the Devil's Fact. How do you guys feel about a Devil's Fact? I know it's been a little rough, but let's get a fact. On February 4th, 2010, the Devils acquired left wing Ilya Kovalchuk, defenseman Anssi Salmela, underrated, and a second-round pick in the 2010 NHL entry draft from the Atlanta Thrashers, now defunct, in exchange for defenseman Johnny Oduya, right wing Nicholas Bergfors, center Patrice Cormier, and first and second round picks in the 2010 NHL entry draft. Now, if you think of the Winnipeg Jets team now, think about like the players like Hellebuck and stuff. They would all be Thrashers. Like I kind of find some of that funny. Like Jonathan Taves right now would be a Thrasher. I kind of find that to be funny. I'll leave you guys with the trivia question. And if you answer it by next episode, maybe you win. You could win something. Who knows? Which three players scored 20 or more goals each for the Devils in 2009 and 2010 season? 3 players, 20 or more. With that, mi amor, we will go to the song. Let's get out of here. Let's go Devils. Play Washington next. And I'll talk to you after that. Let's go.